The stars above Nevada weren't twinkling, they were winking. A low-orbit recon drone from the glorious swarm of Virix 9 caught the anomaly first. Every invasion fleet that jumped into the Sol system vanished exactly 4.7 minutes after breaching lunar distance. No distress calls, no debris clouds, not even a quantum whisper. The cosmos simply swallowed them like a magician's coin. High Communion Archivist Zyle tugged her sensory frill in frustration. "Another clean erasure," she pulsed to the war brain aboard the supercarrier, Unreturnable Glory. "That makes 312 since the carbonics learned to split atoms. Recommend we send something that can survive 4.7 minutes. The war brain, a moon-sized knot of dark matter neurons, considered. "Send something that can survive 5. So they built the Penetrator, a single soldier, gene-forged from immortal stem lines, armored in reflective chitin that could shrug off stellar flares and armed with a reality anchor that could freeze local physics for 6 minutes. Long enough, they thought, to see the trap and report back. They dropped him at dawn, streaking across the stratosphere like a green-gold meteor. He landed outside a place the natives called Pahrump, punching a crater into a parking lot that had, until that instant, been full of retirees and slot machines. The air tasted of burnt pennies and cheap perfume. The Penetrator unfolded, sensors sweeping. 459, 458. No orbital cannons rose, no fighter wings screamed in. Just a single human female, sun-hardened, wearing flip-flops and a tank top that read, "I survived Area 51 and all I got was this lousy t-shirt," standing at the crater's lip sipping something brown through a neon straw. "You're late," she said, voice raspy from decades of unfiltered camels. "Bus tour starts in 10. The Penetrator's threat lattice spiked. Bus tour? He cycled through every known human military designation. Nothing matched. His reality anchor hummed, warping space-time into a crystalline shell around him. 437. The woman flicked ash from an invisible cigarette. "Name's Marlene. I'm the welcome committee, I guess. You want the short version or the long?" The Penetrator's mandibles clacked. "Clarify." Marlene sucked the last of her drink, then lobbed the plastic cup into the crater. It bounced off his armor and landed upright miraculously. "Short version, everybody who comes here looking to break stuff gets processed. Long version involves paperwork, a diner that never closes, and a jukebox that only plays American Pie. Your call." 319. The alien's tactical suite ran a million simulations. Every one ended with the same symbol. A circle of salt, a neon sign shaped like a cowboy, and something labeled "All-you-can-eat shrimp, fry 6 p.m. Marlene turned, already walking towards a dusty RV the color of dried blood. "Clock's ticking, bug boy. You've got 3 minutes before the manager notices you skipped orientation. Trust me, you don't want that." Penetrator hesitated. An alien first. His mission brief contained 0 protocols for diner-based diplomacy. Yet the war brain demanded data. He followed, boots compressing Nevada into glass footprints. The RV door sighed open. Inside was bigger than outside. A roadside cafe stretching to a horizon of coffee steam and syrup light. Boots full of things that used to be invaders, reptilians sipping floats, grays arguing over poker, a crab-clawed general in a paper hat flipping burgers, glanced up, then returned to their menus. A brass placard on the nearest table read, "Abandon all tenta, you who enter here." Marlene slid into a booth. The Penetrator remained standing, reality anchor now crackling like a bug zapper. 211. From the kitchen came a sound, spatula on griddle, sizzling that wasn't food. Each slap echoed with the collapse of a warship. The cook appeared, human male, apron reading, "Kiss the cook, if you dare."
face hidden under a 10-gallon hat made of chrome. When he smiled, the penetrator's armor registered weaponized nostalgia. The scent of county fairs, first kisses, July 4th sparklers. "Order up," the cook said, sliding a plate across the counter. On it was a single slice of pie, lattice crust steaming and filling the color of spiral galaxies. How special! One bite and you'll understand why nobody leaves. Penetrator scanned. No toxins, no nanites, no quantum payloads, just pie. Yet his probability engine screamed extinction-level event. Marlene leaned forward. "We call it humble. Go on, it's free." 140. The warbrain shrieked across entangled space. "Report! Report! Report!" The penetrator reached for the fork. Metal touch mandible. Time dilated. He saw. Every invasion fleet wasn't destroyed. It was recruited. The moment aggressors set foot on Earth's soil, they were enrolled in an endless rotation of service industry, flipping metaphysical burgers, waiting tables in a pocket-dimensional eatery that extended into every gas station, every roadside dive, every late-night Waffle House across America. The universe's most lethal warriors reduced to line cooks and karaoke hosts, earning minimum wage plus tips, paying off cosmic karmic debt, one cheese fry at a time. He saw the manager, not human, not alien, just the accumulated weight of every small-town kindness, every stranger who bought Yvette a cup of coffee, every bartender who listened. A being stitched from diner upholstery and neon prayers, wearing a name tag that simply said, "We." And he understood the 4.7-minute rule. That was how long it took new arrivals to smell the pie. After that, resistance tasted like ash. 045. The penetrator's reality anchor faltered. The 6-minute warranty meant nothing against a weaponized sense of belonging. His mandibles closed around the fork. Marlene's eyes softened. "First day's always the hardest, Sugger, but the benefits are stellar. Immortality, 3 squares, and you get to keep your armor. Uniform's just an apron over it." 012. The warbrain sent its final command, self-destruct. The penetrator overrode it. Someone had to tell the swarm. Someone had to explain why the most dangerous planet in the galaxy wasn't defended by missiles, but by mercy, served at 2 a.m. with a side of hash browns. 00. The cafe jukebox clicked. Don McLean's 8-minute epic began. Outside, the crater sealed itself, asphalt uncracking like a film run backwards. A new sign appeared on the RV. "Now hiring. No experience necessary." The penetrator, now Pete according to his freshly printed name tag, tied on an apron. His shift started in 5. Somewhere in the void, the swarm of Virix 9 waited for a report that would never come. Back on the lot, Marlene lit another phantom cigarette and watched the sky. Another streak flared overhead, green gold trailing fear and curiosity. She checked her watch. 4.7 minutes, right on time.
The newcomer punched a fresh crater beside the old one, asphalt still warm from Pete's landing. This one was smaller. Turned out the Cathar delegation skimped on entry mass when budgets got tight. Marlene didn't flinch. She just refilled her plastic tumbler with sweet tea the color of tractor hydraulic fluid and waited. Inside the diner, Pete flipped his first burger. The patty hissed like a dying star, but the sound that mattered was subtler. The soft thump of aggression being seared out of existence one molecule at a time. He felt the swarm's panic echoing along what was left of his quantum tether, a distant itch he couldn't scratch anymore. The cook, hat tilted low, tapped the bell. "Order up, Pete. Table 7 wants extra pickles." Pete nodded, understanding the pickles here were a metaphysical condiment, the brine of forgotten hostilities, sliced thin. Outside, the Cathar emerged, tripodal, chrome plumage flaring, plasma lance humming a hymn to entropy. Its optical cluster locked on Marlene. "Terran," it buzzed, vocoder crackling. "Yield or be reduced to constituent atoms."
Marlene took a slow sip, then another. "You're early," she said, nodding toward the RV door now decorated with a strand of Christmas lights that had no plug. "But we don't turn away hungry folk. You like chili?" The Cathar calculated 1.3 million escalation trees in a nanosecond, chose the most efficient, and fired. The lance's beam hit an invisible pane 3 centimeters from Marlene's nose, refracted, and cooked a circling vulture overhead into perfectly smoked drumsticks that fell, neatly arranged, onto a waiting paper tray. The smell was irresistible. From the crater's edge, a slot machine that definitely hadn't been there before chimed "Winner" and spat out a coupon. "Free appetizer. Limit 1 per species." The Cathar stared at its weapon, then at the steaming drumsticks, then at the coupon fluttering against its leg like a tame butterfly. Plasma dimmed. Curiosity, the deadliest vice in any galaxy, crept in. 3:59. Inside, Pete felt the tether snap. Somewhere, VRX-9's warbrain convulsed, hemorrhaged data, and went dark. He should have celebrated. Instead, he plaited onion rings into the shape of a spiral galaxy because Table 3 was a family of arachnoid refugees celebrating their first non-genocidal weekend. Marlene gestured the Cathar forward. "Come on, hun. Gravity's expensive. Let's not waste it." She walked, flip-flop slapping a lazy metronome. The Cathar followed, plumage folding like closing umbrellas. Across the highway, dusk arranged itself into a neon sunset that couldn't decide between pink and orange, so it chose both, plus a hint of diner fluorescence. Time dilated the way it does in parking lots where you've lost your keys, every second stretching until it snaps back with the taste of coffee on your tongue. Inside, the jukebox had moved on to Take It Easy. The booths were packed, a reptilian toddler colored on a placemat. Every crayon stroke rewrote a clause in some interstellar armistice. A trio of gray analysts argued over whether cheese fries violated the Prime Directive, while a mantid bouncer, 6 limbs, tuxedo t-shirt, politely asked a drunk cyborg to stop trying to interface with the milkshake machine. Marlene slid into her usual booth. The Cathar mirrored her, joints folding like expensive lawn furniture. A waitress, human, freckles, hair and a beehive tall enough to pick up satellite TV, appeared with 2 waters and a bowl of peanuts still in their shells. "Special tonight is humble pie or humble chili. Pie's quicker if you're on a schedule." The Cathar's chronometer blinked 2:11. It had studied Earth, knew about diners, about pie, and about the anomaly. Theory: the pie contained nano-disassemblers. Counter-theory: the pie was just pie and the trap was subtler. It scanned. No toxins, no quantum payload, only cinnamon, nutmeg, and something its database labeled nostalgia, untranslatable. Marlene cracked a peanut, popped 2 nuts into her mouth, and pocketed the shell. First taste is free. After that, you pay with stories. Everybody's got at least one good story. She nodded toward the stage, where an open mic waited under a single spotlight. "Tell yours. Maybe you walk out of here still thinking Conquest's a viable business model. Or eat and find out why the door only opens inward." The Cathar considered firing again, calculated the probability of vaporizing the entire diner before 0:45, arrived at 0.00%, and set the lance on the table like a surrendered sword. Pete rang the bell. "Chili up!" The bowl arrived, before the Cathar, steaming. Beans shaped like tiny moons, sauce dark as the space between stars. A single oyster cracker floated on top, embossed with the alien's own reflection. 1:40. Outside, another streak lit the sky, this one violet, ragged, leaking antimatter. Marlene didn't look up. "Busier than Black Friday," she drawled, sliding the Cathar a spoon. The spoon trembled in the alien's claw. Somewhere far away, fleets marshaled, empires tallied ledgers of fear and glory. Here, there was only the smell of cumin and the impossible quiet that falls when every radio in the universe tunes to the same heartbeat. The Cathar dipped the spoon. Steam curled into question marks. Inside the kitchen, the cook flipped another patty. Sizzle, thump, and somewhere, a war ended without a headline.
The spoon descended, slow as a comet caught in sunspray, and the Cathar's first taste detonated no mushroom cloud, only memory. It was back on Cathar Prime, hatchling molt fresh, racing across obsidian salt flats while 3 moons argued over tides. The chili carried that wind, acrid, electric, alive.
Its plumage drooped. Plasma lance clattered to linoleum nobody had waxed since Nixon resigned. Marlene watched with the serenity of someone who'd seen titans reduced to dishwashers by nothing stronger than refried beans. She cracked another peanut, pocketed the shell, every shell a keepsake, a galaxy compressed into compost. Tastes like home, don't it? Funny how surrender starts on the tongue. Behind the counter, Pete salted fries, but his other hands, phantom limbs the swarm hadn't noticed until now, were sketching a blueprint on grease paper, the diner's true floor plan, booths arranged like spiral arms, jukebox at the galactic core. He realized management wasn't a metaphor. The building was a living constellation. Every patron a captured star kept shining by tips and small talk. He also realized his apron strings were tightening, not choking, but hugging, the way a seatbelt hugs when the car stops an inch from tragedy. The front door jingled, an actual bell on a spring, cheerful as an ice cream truck, and in rolled the manager. Nobody could describe the manager later, though everyone tried. To the reptilian kid, he looked like Grandpa minus tail. To the cyborg, he was a firmware update wearing cowboy boots. To Marlene, he was just Earl, same as ever, except when he wasn't. Earl tipped a hat that might have been 10-gallon or 10-universe, badge glinting, "We, night shift." His gaze swept the room like a lighthouse that refused to let ships crash. "Evening, folks. Special still standing?" Voices answered in mismatched harmonics. "Yes, sir." "Affirmative." "K-k-k," all landing on the same beat. He stopped at the Cathar's booth, hands 2, maybe 4, behind his back. "Name tag?" The alien stared, eyes swirling like tie-dye in a spin cycle. Earl produced a blank label, pressed it onto chrome plumage. It stuck, letters blooming. "Kip, trainee. Orientation starts in 5. Eat up." The Cathar's chronometer read 058. Somewhere deep in its tri-heart, a protocol screamed, "Detonate core." But the chili had already wired new priorities. Wash hands, learn register, maybe master the milkshake machine that sang in B minor. Outside, the violet streak touched down. No crater, just a polite puff of lavender snow that melted into tumbleweeds. What emerged wasn't one invader, but a committee. 7 synod scribes in shared robes, faces inked with footnotes to their own manifestos. They approached the door in V formation, quills raised like ceremonial spears. Earl met them on the threshold before hinges finished swinging. "Evening, scholars. You folks here for the early bird?" Lead scribe unfolded a scroll longer than the highway, cleared 8 throats. "We intend to catalog, subjugate, and taxonomize your resistance." Earl nodded. Same nod he gave truckers asking for directions to Tulsa. "Boots soaked, menu short, but it reads you." They filed in, robes swishing encyclopedic rustle. Every step erased a margin note. By the time they sat, scrolls were blank, pens drooling ink puddles that spelled "humble" in cursive. On stage, the open mic flickered at single bulb, impatient. Marlene rose and stretched vertebrae that had witnessed more armistices than Congress. "Time, ladies and germs. First-timer gets the stool." She pointed at Kip. Plumage flushed ultraviolet, but legs obeyed. The walk to the spotlight felt like wading through decision trees wilting in real time. Microphone smelled of feedback and birthday candles. Kip gripped it the way hatchlings grip cliff edge before first flight. Voice came out polyphonic, translator glitching. Audience leaned in. Even the friar paused its bubble Morse. "I came to break you." Silence yawned, soft as pie crust. "But you..." Kip glanced at chili bowl still steaming on booth table, at Earl's unreadable smile, at Pete flipping a patty shaped like a peace sign. "You already cracked, and the pieces taste better." Applause wasn't thunder. It was rain on a droughted field, enough to make seeds forget they were ever afraid of dirt. Kip stepped down, name tag glowing. "Kip, story paid." Earl tapped the bell twice, signal for next course. Doors to the kitchen swung wider, revealing not grills, but galaxies on simmer. spiral nebulae ladled into bowls, dark matter reduction drizzled like balsamic. The synod scribes inhaled aromas and began to weep footnotes that pooled into reflective essays about the futility of conquest when dessert was optional. Pete felt his apron pockets grow heavy. Tips, but not coins. Tiny pearls of war potential. Every thank you a neutron star, compressed until it could only shine. He understood wages here were measured in prevented genocides. Outside, dawn started its slow copyright claim on the horizon, pink highlighter streaking over signs that hadn't existed yesterday, now hiring galactic benefits, local flavor. Another streak, orange this time, arced overhead, but the RV diner merely stretched, adding a new wing shaped like a welcoming shrug. Inside, Kip took a tray, cloth slung over shoulder, ready for table 6, where a gelatinous duke awaited coffee refills and gentle conversation about the weather on gas giants. The synod scribes ordered seconds of humility, arguing over who got to foot the bill in surrendered ideologies. The reptilian kid asked Pete for help reaching the crayon box. Together they drew a sky with no borders, only booths. Marlene, back in her corner booth, counted peanut shells, one for every civilization that thought appetite could be weaponized. She pocketed the newest one, smiled at Earl. Busy shift. Earl adjusted hat, galaxies swirling in brim shadow. The universe is open 24/7, darlin', and closing time's just a myth we keep to make the songs prettier.
The bell's echo hadn't faded when the sky outside cracked open, not with thunder, but with a sigh so vast every star felt it. A final ship descended, not alloy, not plasma, but pure intention given hull. On its prow glowed a sigil every species secretly feared, the emblem of the unreturned, those who'd vanished into Earth's gravity and never filed taxes again. It landed polite as a memory, ramp extending like a tongue ready to confess. Out stepped the Fleet-Admiral of every hostile armada ever, a gestalt of generals stitched by shared refusal to read the fine print. Eyes, a million pinpoints of campaigns that had burned libraries. Voice, the scrape of metals rubbing against each other in empty drawers. It pointed a finger, part rifle, part fountain pen, at Earl and declared the last declaration. "We have come to take back our soldiers, to unwrite this joke you call diner, to remind the cosmos that fear is the only constant." Earl wiped hands on an apron older than carbon. "Sorry, Admiral, kitchen's closed to take-backs, but grab a stool, pie still warm." The gestalt advanced, boots printing manifestos that burst into flames and became origami cranes refusing to bomb anyone. It reached for Kip, still balancing coffee pot, intending to reassemble the warrior code inside him. Contacts sizzled, yet what poured out wasn't obedience, but aroma. Fresh bread, cut grass, July barbecue where no one mentions politics. The gestalt's million eyes watered. One by one, metal sublimated into butter packets. Rank insignia became packets of jelly, strawberry no less. Marlene stood, cracked the last peanut shell, and spoke, not loud, but in the key every throat carries from birth. "You're free to leave, door's right there. But know this, out there is the same vacuum you've been screaming into. In here is the echo that answered back." The gestalt wavered, edges pixelating into static. It turned toward the exit, but the threshold had become a mirror reflecting every invasion it ever ordered. Children hiding under tables identical to these. Spices of alien kitchens still sizzling after orbital rain. The reflection spoke, voice composite of every server who ever said, "Enjoy your meal," and meant, "Enjoy being human for 5 minutes." You can conquer a world, or you can sit and taste it. Pick one. Clock on the wall hit 000, then kept going backward, numbers peeling like stickers until only a circle remained, 0 as mouth ready to bite or to smile. The gestalt's hand, now just a hand, let go the rifle pen, watched it clatter, become a fork that jumped into a napkin and twirled like a baton. Kip offered coffee, The Gestalt drank. Black, no sugar, because sweetness is learned and bitterness is the beginning of memory. Outside, ships began to land, not in assault formation, but parking lot jigsaw, hulls folding into sedan shapes, wings retracting like embarrassed claws. Invaders poured out, every species armored in glory, now rusting into casual jackets. They queued at the door, some still clutching banners that melted into dish rags the moment they crossed the threshold. Inside, booths multiplied, universe expanding by vinyl and chrome. The jukebox, drunk on possibility, played every anthem simultaneously until they synced into a single hum, the frequency of a lullaby hummed by a species that never learned war. Earl rang the bell one final time, sound rippling outward, washing Earth's skies clean of dread. Satellites picked it up, broadcasters mistook it for a new hit single. Teenagers sampled it behind love songs, never knowing they danced to the death knell of conquest. The sound kept traveling, rode solar wind, kissed the helmets of distant scouts who lowered weapons mid-orbit and whispered, "Let's turn around, I'm starving." In the kitchen, Pete salted the last fry, felt apron strings loosen, not from failure, but graduation. Tips in his pocket, those neutron stars, lifted like fireflies, drifted ceilingward, punched gentle holes through which daylight from every surrendered battlefield poured in shafts. He watched them ascend, understanding the bill was paid. One planet, slightly used, now returned to its citizens minus the appetite for destruction. Marlene walked to the center of the room, raised the final peanut shell high. Souvenir, for anybody who still thinks they're bigger than lunch. She crushed it. A wind, warm, buttered, swept through the diner, carrying smells of every childhood that had ever been interrupted by sirens. When it settled, name tags were blank, uniforms gone. Only people sat elbow to elbow, passing salt and asking, "Pass the salt?" and meaning it kindly. The Gestalt, now just a man in a borrowed t-shirt that read, "Universe powered by leftovers," pushed open the door to leave. Outside, he found no Armada, only a parking lot giving way to desert, giving way to horizon unclenched like a fist finally asleep. He looked back once. The diner waved, literally, roofline bending like a parent sending a kid to first day of school, then folded into neon mist that smelled of coffee and tomorrow. Where it had stood, tables remained, picnic style, open air, all welcome. Salt and pepper shakers stood eternal, refillable. Night fell, soft as closing credits, but the story refused darkness. Stars rearranged into a single sentence across the sky. Come back when you're hungry for peace. And every ship, whether built of alloy, biomass, or regret, turned, set navigation, and punched in coordinates that weren't coordinates at all. Just the memory of a round table where no one eats alone. And somewhere, maybe nowhere, maybe right here, Earl wipes one last plate, holds it to the light, sees his reflection multiplied into every face that ever chose pie over plunder. He smiles, flicks off the sign. It doesn't say closed, it says see you soon. The universe keeps spinning, but the axis now runs through a diner that exists wherever someone offers a stranger coffee and the stranger accepts. Listen close at dawn. You'll hear the bell. Faint, distant, inviting. It's not an echo, it's an invitation. Answer it, and you're already home. Ignore it, and it waits, patient as bread rising, until hunger bigger than conquest brings you back. Either way, the door is open, the pie is warm, and the war is over the moment you taste it.